Welcome to Your Biz, Your Rules, the podcast for business-minded go-getters hosted by me, your favourite brain and biz coach, Daire Paddy. This is the spot for those of you ready to blend heart and head, woo and do, income and impact, change and chill, and so much more. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. Welcome to episode 226 of Your Biz, Your Rules. In this show, we are going to be picking apart a whole bunch of different ways that you can start really exceeding client expectations in your digital product. Now, we have a lot to dive into today, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. Let's get straight down to business. So this topic seemed to fall out of the sky and into my brain as I was moving all of my products from Memberful to Thrivecart. As I was moving everything over, I was sort of looking at the structure of all of my programs. And obviously, that is something I pay attention to anyway when I'm creating them. But I had not necessarily looked at the structure of everything next to each other. And I definitely saw a lot of patterns that I seem to have that always result in people loving working with me. And that is one of the reasons that I really want to draw your attention to the idea of exceeding expectations with your offers, because it is all well and good to simply deliver on your promises. Like that's not a bad thing to do by any means. But if you can exceed your clients' expectations, then you can pretty much guarantee that they will come back for more. When you have something else to offer in the future, they will be back and eager to get their purses out. And they are way more likely to refer you, to rave about you. And word of mouth business is chef's kiss, it's the dream. So let's dive into some of the very practical ways that you can start exceeding expectations with your digital products. So the first way that you can exceed expectations, and this sounds unrelated, but it's not, go with me, is to make sure your whole product suite looks cohesive. And the reason that this is so important is that it immediately establishes your sense of authority. Like when you look at a product suite like this and you can see that visually everything goes together, like it's not necessarily matching, but it doesn't look weird side by side. There's not one thing that looks more dated than another thing. This really helps show your clients, your customers, that you are, you're not a flash in the pan, you're not a one-hit wonder, you're not a dabbler, like you know your stuff. And it might seem like a really shallow way of expressing that, but you know what? Sometimes that's what works. Because yes, people might have been in our world for a while. Yes, people might know us, like us, trust us. But when they can see like a whole life cycle of different products that flow into each other, both like literally in sense of topic, but also visually, it just enhances that sense of authority that you have. And it allows them to know on a deeper level that they have made a good purchasing decision, that you are the real deal. And already it's setting you ahead of the curve, even if they haven't looked at any of your products yet. So behind the scenes in Thrivecart, when they log in, people will see the marketplace section, so the courses that are available for purchase. These are not matching, like my graphics for each of these, they're not identical, but they go together. So I use a lot of the same elements. So I use a lot of the same fonts in different ways. I use a lot of the same colors in different ways. I use like occasional pictures of me. So everything is very much tied together cohesively from a visual perspective. So that's thing number one. Thing number two is to make the onboarding process seamless. Again, this feels like a very obvious thing to talk about, but it's actually not something that everybody puts their time and attention into, which can often mean that people will find that process clunky. So they might purchase something and feel really excited about that investment, but then maybe they don't get the thing right away, or the link they have doesn't work, or there's just something that isn't running that smoothly. And, to get it sorted, they have to email you, and it takes you up to 48 hours to get back to emails. And there's all of this stuff. And then even before they are accessing your product, even before they are seeing how amazing your work is, there's a sour taste in their mouth. We're fickle creatures. We like things to move smoothly. And that's one of the reasons that I actually love using Thrivecart for everything, because Thrivecart is my checkout platform. It is my course platform now. And it is also how I manage my affiliate programs. So everything is in one, which means that as soon as somebody purchases, they are taken to their course page. They don't have to wait for things to be delivered or access to be given or anything like that. It's automatically done. Seamless. And then what happens when somebody purchases, when their program is unlocked, they are taken through my process. My programs always have a start here section, which means they always have a clear set of steps to get people in the room, to get them focused, to help them get the most out of the experience. One of these being, fill in your intake questionnaire. So this whole onboarding process for my clients is automatic. I don't need to do anything. It doesn't require me to do anything manual. And even though that's the case, they don't feel any less taken care of, because they have everything that they need. And they have it immediately. So the next thing that you want to make sure is really, really clear is how the experience is going to work. And obviously this will look different depending on whether it is a live experience, a self-study program, or some kind of hybrid, but just outlining exactly what they can expect, how it's going to function as a structure is really, really helpful too. Because sometimes if you let people just guess, they're going to make assumptions. And then if you don't meet their assumptions, they're going to get salty. And we don't want that, because we always want to be leaving them with a positive impression of our work. So an example here is Unlocked, which is my 8-week breathwork program. And right here we have the first step. So that's the onboarding questionnaire. Then we have how to get the best results from Unlocked. So immediately we're going in with tips to get started. We have an outline of how this program is going to function. So I've actually just updated this, because previously it was a live experience. And so my initial, here's how it's going to work, text was different. Now these recordings are available as a self-study sort of situation. So the information that I have here is different. But that was very, very easy for me to update. So you want to be telling people you have this many sessions. The sessions are this long. Here's what you can expect during our sessions. Here's what I expect from you, to prepare beforehand, if necessary, all of that kind of thing. And any rules of engagement that you have. So if it's a community experience and you have, group guidelines, give them all of that information up front in a way that they can easily refer back to it. Sometimes when you deliver things exclusively through a Facebook group, things can get very lost, things can get very messy. Even if it's nicely organized, people can't pick out the relevant information always. So having things laid out like this really, again, helps you exceed those expectations, because it removes any doubt from the equation. The next tip that I have for you is just don't make them do this alone. Do not make them do this alone. And obviously that is very, very easy to do when it is a live experience. So, when I ran Unlocked live, they had a 90-minute session with me. Was it 90 minutes or 2 hours? Might be 2 hours actually. A 2-hour session with me every single week. And they also had access to me via email. It's a live experience. They get live access. I'm sure familiar with the model. But then what happens when it becomes a self-study thing? Because, The internet business gurus might have us believe that scalable means detached. I personally do not buy into that rhetoric. I believe that things can be self-study and still have the personal touch. And that's a choice that I make for my own business, because I always want to know that my clients feel supported, that they feel seen, that they have everything that they need, even if it is a self-study low ticket offer. And so one of the ways that I do that now is to include a step for them to get extra support, which is joining this Facebook group, a client-only community, meaning that everybody in here has purchased something at some point. So that might have been a workshop, it might have been, working one-on-one together, it might have been my old membership. Like, there are 101 different ways that people might have made it here. But the point is, if they need something from me, if they want to ask a question, if they need a clarification, if they want like additional goodies, then this is where they come. And in my mind, this kind of is scalable, because it doesn't matter how many people are in this group. I can still be here to do these weekly workshops. I can still provide additional like resources and gifts. I can still answer all of your questions. I can still do regular card readings. And it's not going to feel overwhelming for me, because I don't have 100 different groups for all of my different products that I need to be putting effort into. There's just this one spot. And I will say that this idea of a client-only community was 100% inspired by my friend Lizzie. So Elizabeth Goddard has this great course on creating like client-only Facebook groups, which I will drop a link to. I highly recommend taking a look at that if this is an idea that you want to swipe for your own business. Okay, so tip number 5, I think we're at. Include different formats. Include, when you're teaching something, make sure that your different learning preferences are factored in. That makes a difference to people. It really, really does. So let me just pick a random example here. So Unshakable Business Academy, which I'm using this one as an example because there's a lot more like training than there was in the breathwork program. That's more experiential. With every lesson here, we always have a video training so people can listen, they can watch if that's what they would prefer to do, and just, absorb the information that way. If people prefer to read and refer back to things, then I have it all written out here. All of the exercises, all of the tips, all of the action steps are here, which makes it really, really easy for people to consume. And especially if you've already watched a training, you don't necessarily want to sit through that 10 minutes again, but you want to find that one thing that I mentioned that you can't quite remember. It's there. It's in the write-up. And this can be very, very easy to do. Like, the way that I manage this is I get my VA to help. So yes, I have like general outlines for my lessons. So, they'll be added to the mix too. But she will just pop them. I think she uses Otter to get a transcription, and then she edits them for me, make sure they, make sense, make sure the like grammar's good and it's formatted right, and she'll pop those in there for me. And it's really, really simple to do. And with Thrivecut, you can make them look just like nicely spaced out however you want, and you can actually do a lot more creative things than this. I've kept it very, very simple. My next tip is to think about your bonuses. So you always want your bonuses to be relevant. Be discerning here. What bonus will enhance the experience of the offer? I've seen it so often that people just shoehorn random things to make the product or the program seem extra high value. And while that's all well and good, it's not useful. Chances are most people are not going to consume those bonuses if they're not actually helping with the thing that they're choosing to invest in. So put some thought into that. Be discerning there. Let's have a little look at some examples here. So with Unshakable Business Academy, you can see that I have my 5 pillars of practice, and that is where the bulk of the training will be, you know, the action steps, the bonus resources, the templates, all of that stuff. But occasionally I have a bonus workshop. And these were inspired by topics that came up on repeat the first time I ran this experience live. So I paid attention to, you know, the areas that seem to rear their ugly head on a lot of our coaching calls. And using this as an example, we had grief come up a lot. So we had a few people struggle with grief during that first experience, and it really definitely had a ripple effect on their ability to implement the lessons and just keep growing their businesses as they are. So I found an expert who could help with that thing. I found a grief coach who also does a lot of work around self-sabotage, and she put together an amazing workshop and came and delivered that for us. So that's a bonus that really enhances the work that is already done in this program. Another example here is we had a breathwork session. So it was relevant because when we were diving into energetic leadership, which is all about expansion and thinking bigger and stepping up, I wanted something that would not just inform people that that was a good thing to do, but an experience that would actually like make that a lot more possible for people. So I had someone come in and lead an amazing breathwork workshop. So that's a bonus there. So you see how each of these bonuses that I've included, they're very relevant to the content of the program. They're very relevant. Like if I was going to relaunch Unlocked, so the 8-week breathwork program, which is like, that's what it is. It is breathwork sessions that focus on specific topics. If I added a bonus in there that was like, I don't know, my money spreadsheet. Yeah, my money spreadsheet is great. It is so useful for people, but how is that relevant to this breathwork program? It's not. It's not. It makes me seem chaotic, and we don't want to seem chaotic when we're trying to like get clients to trust us enough to invest in our programs, are we? Like, no, the chaos is not good. Another tip that I have to help you really exceed expectations is to make your clients' results impossible for them to ignore. I'm sure that you can relate to being in a container, whether that is like a mastermind, a group coaching program, anything like that. And you're in it for so long that you almost forget where you were beforehand. You almost forget a lot of the milestones that you've hit along the way. That is one of the reasons that I will always include that intake questionnaire here, because we take the pulse of where they are now, what they are struggling with right now before they get into all of the magical things that you're going to do with them. And you will have a record of this. So you will receive this to your inbox. Like mine is in Google Forms. It's a free tool. It's really, really simple, but you could use Typeform, which you can always use for free. Airtable, again, which you can use for free. And just get them to fill in some questions that set the scene of their current experience, their current struggles. And then at the end, I always have a lesson called Use Your Voice, which is a feedback questionnaire. And in this, I am asking people questions about their results. So asking them to reflect on where they were at the beginning and seeing where they are now. And when you can see those two side by side, and when your clients can see those two side by side, there is no arguing with the fact that they have seen progress. And when they are hit in the face with the amazing shifts that they've experienced and the big wins that they've celebrated, they immediately feel excited. They feel the positivity. They feel the impact that you've had. And when this is something you're ending the experience with, that's their main takeaway. When they leave, they realize that you have really, really helped them. You have made a difference. You have exceeded their expectations. Because I do actually have a question about that in my intake form. I will ask, what are your expectations for this program? And then if they're seeing what their expectations were with the feedback questionnaire that asks them about, their favorite moments and the biggest surprises, they're looking at that side by side and they are seeing that transformation, seeing that difference. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, and it seems relevant because we're in this spot right here, is when you want something, include an incentive. Because I have spoken to so many clients over the years who have, asked for testimonials or asked people to do some market research or asked them to give them some feedback. And they haven't got that. They haven't received that. And they're low-key bitter about it. We don't want you to be feeling resentful or frustrated about not getting what you need, because when that is where you are emotionally and energetically, you are not going to show up as your best, most vibrant self when you are then working with your clients. And if you're not showing up as like that best version of you, then 100% they are not going to be delighted by what you offer. Their expectations are not going to be exceeded. So an example right here, I want them to leave me some feedback, okay? And I want this because I want a nice testimonial. I want this because I want some content inspiration, and I want this because it allows me to make tweaks to the program if necessary. It's something that I want. How do I make it worth it for them too? Well, this is something that I've started doing. So each month, I have a little dish. There it is. I have a little dish. And I will pop in the names of anybody who has filled in a feedback questionnaire. And like I said, once a month, I will just pull a name out of that. And all of the old names stay in there. So it's not like they're ever going to be removed and lose out on the opportunity. But every month, I will pick one name and I will give them a prize. And this very much varies in terms of what it is. Sometimes I'll send people a gift in the mail. Sometimes I'll give them a free one-on-one session. If I'm launching something new, I might give them access to that. If previously they've indicated that they really want something else, then I'll give them access to that. I don't have a hard and fast set rule there, but I do have this habit of every month, one feedback submitter wins a prize. And that makes it feel worth it for them too, because who doesn't love winning prizes? I know I do. My next tip for you to really help exceed expectations and cement in that impact that you have is to give them logical next steps and some kind of aftercare system if necessary. So you might not need to include the aftercare piece of this if you're just teaching a straight up course, but if you're including something that, dabbles in people's emotional well-being or their health or their energy, then you want to give them some aftercare tips just to make sure that they're, taken care of. So we've got tips on how to keep using this program. And then I also include a next step in terms of if they want to continue working with me. And I don't make this the same across all of my programs. I will target it. So for this one, for example, it is an 8-week breathwork program. So you know that the people who have invested in this are very much committed to working on their energy, to releasing the limiting beliefs or blocks that have been really holding them back and preventing them from getting what they want. So I want to provide them with a next step that aligns with that. So in this case, I have included the information about my membership program that includes more breathwork sessions, it includes EFT workshops, journaling workshops, movie nights, all kinds of self-care, energetic health type stuff. With other things, I might include access to a suggestion to sign up for Unshakable Business Academy. So if it's maybe a workshop that deals with business strategy or marketing or anything like that, the logical next step might be join Unshakable Business Academy. So really make it relevant again. So as with the bonuses, you want the next steps to be relevant. You don't want it to seem just generic and random. And then last but not least, offer an affiliate option. So this is how I end every single one of my programs. So all they have to do is click on a link, add their details, and they will be added to my affiliate program, not just for the product that they've purchased, but of all the things that I have available. And they get at least 20% recurring. Some products are a bit more, but that's just a great way of incentivizing them to share the program. And if you have exceeded their expectations in all of these different ways, they will share anyway. They'll share even more if they're going to get some money back from it. So that's just a great way of getting the word out even more. And I could talk about this kind of stuff forever. And in Unshakable Business Academy, we dive into this a lot more, but you can see how with just a few simple shifts, a few simple tweaks, you can start really enhancing the results that people get, really surpassing the assumptions that they've made about working with you. And you don't have to tell them about all of this stuff in your marketing. Like, this doesn't have to be part of your launch copy or anything like that. This can be stuff that is just that is surprise for them when they sign up. But really ensuring that that process is smooth, that they are taken care of at every step, just leaves a good feeling in their mouth. It will keep them coming back for more. It will keep them, returning and referring, which is what we want. Now, one really simple tip to help you integrate all of these is to make yourself a template. So you can do this really easily in Thrive cards. So I have this template course that has a series of lessons in. So we have the Start Here section, which always has your first step, which is the intake form, the onboarding form, whatever you want to call it, that little questionnaire. Then we have extra support, which is to join the Facebook group. And then depending on what kind of program it is, so I'll have like another lesson that's about getting prepared. So if that is something like breath work, where they might need supplies or they might need like a health and safety disclaimer or anything like that, I will include that in there. If it's just like a workshop or a training course, then I don't include that piece. And then we have like a template of how I want the modules to look. And then last but not least, we have the next step section, which again includes three lessons. So we have Use Your Voice, which is my feedback questionnaire. We have Keep the Momentum Going, which is the aftercare and the next steps. And we have Become an Affiliate, which is their link to join the affiliate program. And it sounds so simple, but if you create that template, then all you have to do every time you want to create something new is just click clone. And you have all of that information already in. So you're not duplicating work. You're not having to repeat things over and over. It's already in there and ready for you. So I didn't mean for this to be like an ode to Thrive Card, but I'm really loving it right now. It's really pleasing me how everything is looking and how everything is running. But there you have it, 10 different ways that you can start exceeding expectations with your digital products and your digital programs. I would love to hear from you. If you could pick just one of these and take action on them today or this week, which one would it be? So which one are you going to go for? If you want to go for all, gold star, you go for it. But even if you just made one shift, one tweak, it will make all the difference to your clients' experiences. And that's what we want. We want people to be delighted when they work with us, don't we? Thank you for listening to Your Biz, Your Rules. I know that we all like to listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles or books or posts on Facebook, and not really do anything with that information. So I want to challenge you right now. I want to challenge you to take something from this episode, anything, and use it to spark action. Use it to activate some kind of change in the way you work and the way you live. Do yourself this service today and tell me all about it on Instagram. Hop over shoot me a DM or share an Instagram story showcasing what action you are taking thanks to this episode. And of course, do all of the usual things. Subscribe, leave a review, let me know how much you love the show, and I'll be back with you next week.